Great, thanks. Okay, I think I can start sharing. I think I will
Cool.
use maybe 20 minutes to share my experience in vTaïwan. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you can see the full screen, but I think for me, I'm right now I can see the screen right now.
Yeah, it's
So
perfect.
basically, yeah, great. So I will start sharing, and the sharing will contain the historical background of the Taiwan community and how it was and how it is then, and what is the change between the former ones to the right now what we have right now. Yes. So just before that, I just want to introduce myself. I'm currently pursuing an LN degree, which is the master degree in National Taiwan University, and I'm specializing in law, particularly in AI policy, competition law, and the technology law. And I'm also working in GovZero community as a contributor. Also works as a vTaiwan community as a contributor. And the vTaiwan is actually like a sub community or a community-based projects on the GovZero community, and I will explain to the relationship between the GovZero community and the VTON community more detailedly later on. So we need to talk before we talk about the Taiwan. I think we need to talk about the student movements. In France, I think you frequently have like labor strike, but in Taiwan, I think we also have labor strike, but we also have the student movement. So in 2014, there's a very huge student movement. It was called Sunflower Student Movement, and in a sentence, in a world, the Sunflower Student Movement is a student movement that going against the ruling party then, which is the KMT, and the KMT is back, holding the majority seat in the parliament right now, but they didn't get a presidency. So the presidency in Taiwan right now is like a lame duck, but before that, during 2014, the ruling party KMT actually controls the presidency and also the majority seat in the parliament. Therefore, KMT wants to pass a law because their stance is that we need to try to be friendly to China to avoid these kind of conflict, and we need to cooperate with China economically. And therefore, they try to pass a law to build a more closer economic ties with China. And it actually angers a lot of people, not only because of the content, but also because of the process, because the KMT legislators didn't follow the due process, which is like we need to go through the voting and we need to record down who is voting for the bill. But however, everything happens all of a sudden. The KMT legislators trying to pass the law violently without any discussions, and therefore students starting to get anger and gathering outside the parliament. And afterwards, students break into the parliament and occupy the parliament hall for 3 weeks. And it was a very long time to control the parliament hall. And also, it became famous around the world because a lot of Taiwanese people are writing articles, post, and also fundraising to make a post on New York Times or these kind of international medias, and a lot of people are going live streaming, and also the students are gather more and more students getting into the parliament and also outside the parliament. So after 3 weeks later, the leader in the parliament decided to negotiate with the students, and finally, the student movements peacefully ends, hopefully, because nobody got seriously hurt. Somebody got seriously hurt by the police, but it is outside the parliament. But for students inside the parliament, nobody is got hurt very seriously. And afterwards, for the civil society in Taiwan, we're starting to realize that it is actually possible to change the government with our own efforts. And I think it is also why Taiwanese people are still engaging in public affairs a lot. Not only because that we are usually anxious about where our national identity, but also because that these kind of examples like Sunflower Student Movement or other kind of student movements or social movements actually proves that the government is being has the government's power can be controlled by these kind of public engagements to the community and the society. And however, for the government side, it was a total different story because government side is trying to save their popularity, trying to save their public trust from these events. Because after Southwest student movements, the government then is being the trust toward the government is being undermined heavily. Therefore, um, here it comes with one special position. I'm not sure if in France you have the corresponding position. It was called Minister without Portfolio, which means that they are also a part of the ministry but they didn't have a specific ministry to govern. The minister without portfolio is more like a coordinator, like a third party between different government agencies to coordinate on certain issues, maybe on crime prevention, maybe on money laundering, maybe on the internet governance, because these kind of complicated or emerging issues needs multiple efforts from different agencies, and we need one coordinators to coordinate different issues, coordinate different agencies' mission, and trying to make them aligned with each other. So that is how Minister without portfolio doing. And during then, during 2014, the Minister without portfolio is called Jacqueline Tsai. She was originally a lawyer, and then she entered into the government to become the Minister without portfolio. And Jacqueline Tsai's ideology is that she wants smaller governments, and she believes that the people's power should be represented in people's power, and people's opinion should be represented in the government's policy making when it comes to innovative technology or some new emerging technology. So, following these ideology, the Jacqueline Tsai resorts to the community, civil tech community, which is the GovZero community. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the GovZero community, but one very high profile and also very popular figure from GovZero is Audrey Tan. And so during that, Audrey Tang is still a community contributor rather than a digital minister or digital ambassador. So during then, Jacqueline Tsai participated into the GovZero community's bi-monthly hackathon. So she made a proposal that the government should work with the civic tech community to build on an online platforms for digital policy discussion. And so their purpose is the proposal is very easy because the comparison of public policy making is like this. So before the vTaïwan is formed, the policy making is usually professionalism with scholars and corporational lobbying, and also the record should be transparent and incomplete. But however, since GovZero is worshipping on openness of the government, which means that we want everything to be transparent and open, so the vTaïwan also following these kind of principles, like we need to discuss the policies on community based, and we need to invite different stakeholders rather than the large companies or some scholars to the meeting. And we also need to use some different sorts of ways on different means to make it more transparent and make it more open for people to participate, like live streaming or collaboration notes. These kind of tools can help people participate into the participate into the discussions, even though they are not in venue, even though they are not in the meeting. So this is what we want to do. And during then, the vTaïwan is formed. And actually, vTaïwan is formed by different parts. And there's a lot of people didn't realize that vTaïwan actually contains of different parts. So the first part of vTaïwan is like the minister's office. And it is very important because it is the only part that have the role in the government agencies. So the minister's office is serving as the bridge between the vTaïwan community and the government. So their mission is to translate the discussion result, because usually after the deliberative democracy discussions, we will come up with some outputs, some opinions being collected. And however, these opinions cannot be the policy, or cannot be a guideline, or cannot be any useful law. So we need to translate these kind of opinions into the legal jargons. And that is how minister's office playing their role to write it down, record down the opinion, and then make it into a law or a guidance or rules that the government can follow. And also, minister's office is also coordinating different government agencies to come to participate into the discussions. Or if the government agency didn't participate into the discussions, then the deliberative democracy discussions will be useless, because that it be totally a discussions rather than a discussions which can make any changes in the government. And the second part of the vTaïwan structure is the STLI, which is Science and Technology Law Institute. And it was a think tank, and it was publicly founded. So basically, the governments will give their budgets and make them to do a legal research. And why STLI is really important is that um, they help vTaiwan communities to do the legal research, because before every deliberative democracies, we need to have these kind of background knowledge. We need to have the context. We have to compile all these kind of information together to keep it handed out to the participants to make them more understanding about what we are going to discuss today. So STI actually play a very critical role on forming and also collecting these kind of knowledge background information for us. So yeah, and the government actually allocate several years of budgets to FCOI to form a special team to help the Taiwan community. And finally is the governmental contributors or the community itself. So it is volunteered. I'm also a volunteer too. I didn't receive any pay from any annual or monthly pay from the Taiwan community. And we are also the ones that inviting stakeholders to come to participate into the discussions. And we are also the ones that explore like different tools to be used in the discussions. So that is the structures of vTaiwan. And this is the what we have and like several years ago. Like this is a whole process of how we form the discussions. And right now we are still making up the we are still changing. So we are renovating and innovating our process, not using these a lot of tools that's being showed on these graph. But however, we are using the new tools like we use AI a lot to help us circulating the opinion, trying to summarize the opinions that people have in your mind, and also using the AI enhanced tools like the to make the script and also to record down what people say during the discussion, face-to-face discussion. But however, I think the main structure is still the same. When there's an issue, we're trying to qualify the issue, and we do the stakeholder discovery to differentiate the different stakeholders that might be influenced by the issue. And then we create the information context for the participant. And also we invite the different stakeholders to come into the discussions. And then these face-to-face discussions can also be participated virtually. So we have live streaming, we have online meeting, and also we invite people to come into the single meeting room to do the face-to-face discussions. And right now we are also using some innovative tools like Mentimeter. Mentimeter is just like an interactive PowerPoint slides. So during every PowerPoint slides, you can ask question, put your questions on the slides, and the Mentimeter allows the people to submit their answers or submit their response through a QR code, and it can help people be more interactive during the sharing or during the deliberation process. And also we use Slido to do the opinion gathering to try to collect information, trying to collect people's opinion from their mind. And also we use like this is the real example about using pol.is, and this is also the prominent example of what we have done is using it to discuss some very controversial policies like Uber. So during then, Uber is a very controversial issue in Taiwan because people thinking some taxi drivers thinks that the Uber taking over their job, and but Uber considered in themselves as a tech company, and the Uber driver is not a taxi driver, but just the driver that share their seats and share their cars. So it has become a very huge controversial issue in Taiwan, and finally we've solved that. And but however, during 2015 to 2020, there's some problems with vTaiwan. So the first problem is the reputation gap, because Audrey Tang, before and after she becomes the digital minister and the digital ambassador, she actually promotes GovZero, and vTaiwan is a very prominent example she usually talks about. So during her career in the government, vTaiwan is highly promoted. However, in Taiwan domestically, a lot of citizens in Taiwan didn't know what is vTaiwan or what vTaiwan is playing a role in the government. And another thing is that the vTaiwan, since it is not institutionalized or legalized, we didn't have a law require the governments to say, hey, we need to use vTaiwan mechanisms to do the public hearing or to do the opinion collecting. So therefore, it actually relies on a very critical public servants to take advantage of vTaiwan's mechanism. So yeah, it is. So basically, after all the time, I think there's no public servants or no high official that want to use the vTaiwan mechanism because it was too time consuming, and usually it is the results can is hardly to be controlled because it's coming from the public opinion. And finally, as I said, it is unconstitutional, and vTaiwan do not have a legal entity, so we actually relies on the STLI to as a legal whopper or a legal entity to receive our receive the fundraising or sponsorship, which actually undermines our independence. And also, but however, vTaiwan still have some innovative working mechanisms like this. So it was called Lupa Onion, and it was developed by and I think it's two government contributors in Taiwan. So it was called, basically it is like the contributors do not need to enjoy a certain position or do not need to fulfill a certain part of engagement or obligation. You can decide what you want to do, and it was kind of like a free model for you to participate. Every different levels of participations can grad becomes your position, and you will have a power to participate the governance of the community. Yeah. So vTaiwan is like this. So I'm in a core group, which is like several coordinators. We never leave, we never be absent. And there are also some heavy contributors. And heavy contributors participate in the weekly meetup every week. And in the weekly meetup, we called it Little Hackathon. So they participate in the weekly meetup every week and contributing to several different projects that we are having right now. And there's also some light contributors. They didn't show up in the weekly meetup, or they showing up in the weekly meetup from time to time, but they attend our face-to-face events usually. So this is the light contributor. And finally, there's a micro contributor. Maybe they do not they do not even attend the events, but they will help us sharing the information, or they are willing to help us offering some help when we are needed, when there's needed. So this is different levels of participation. And after 2020, due to these kind of problems and also the impact of pandemic COVID-19, Taiwan starting to get quiet, which means that we didn't operate gradually and weekly, and the volunteers are also working on different projects or working on their own career. And it was until like 2023, OpenAI released a plan that was called released a program that was called Democratic Input to AI program. And the goal of the program is to find out an innovative way to do the AI governance. So basically, they will give each team 10 teams from around the world 100,000 US dollars to become the first founding these kind of innovative research. And vTaiwan, luckily, we work with several NGOs around the world. And finally, the projects that we work with, Chatham House, a very prestigious think tank in UK, becomes selected by OpenAI. So we are 10 out of 800 teams, and we are also the only teams with Taiwanese. So with the found, we are able to hold a stakeholder meeting in Taiwan, and it is the staff that we have right now, that we have then, and they are actually working in the vTaiwan community. A lot of people are still working in the vTaiwan community, and this is what we have. The participants are coming from different groups. Like we have reporters, we have legislators, we have former commissioners from NCC, which is just like the FCC. Governing the communication, internet governance, and all other issues. We also have people from Aboriginal groups, from gender disadvantaged people, and also from people from new immigrants groups like that. So we have a very diversified participants, and I think it was very successful. And finally, the result is like this. We published this report, and this report can also be found on the official blog of OpenAI. But I think it is like 2 years ago. Actually, it was like 1 year ago because OpenAI delayed the release of the final results of the program due to their due to the fights of the board members like that. So it was released on OpenAI's website last year. And I also recently I write a article on Friedrich Neumann Foundation. They sponsor us to write this article, and it was a German foundation working on the innovative technology and deliberative democracy. So if you want to read the article, it was in English, and if you want to read it, you can scan the QR code as well. And I can send the slides to Jalu afterwards. So if you want the slides to share the content, it's also free, and you're also okay to share the slides too. And right now, vTaïwan is working like this. After all these kind of projects, we're starting to rebuild our community and collecting members that are interested in doing digital democracies or deliberative democracies, using innovative tools to do the democracies like that. And we do the weekly discussions. So Jalu and a lot of members from Tournesol coming up to the vTaïwan's meetup. I think it was like several weeks ago. And it was really nice.
With Lei.
With Lei, with Lei. Sorry, I just forget the name. But Lei and Jalu participated in our discussions several weeks ago, and it was like a very nice discussions. We have a lot of discussions on different things, and also on the project we are working on with. So we also using some innovative tools to do the sharing. Like this is what we have in the democratic AI. We collecting opinion from a lot of people, and then we trying to summarize the opinions from into different groups, and then categorizing them into different groups and summarizing opinions that different groups have. And also we doing them in the social movement as well. So last year we actually have a very large scale protest against the majority of seat a party in the parliament, because they want to propose a rule that is abuse the legislative power. So we use the real-time opinion mapping to collecting opinion from people and from the protests on the streets. And it can show that there's a very clear difference and clear characterization of different groups of people that holding different opinions. And right now, what we are doing is that we are doing a series of social issue meetup, and we are building the community through the connection and cooperation. And we want to foster discussions with digital tools, with face-to-face interaction. We are creating space for everybody to express their opinion. And also we are working with NGOs, civil participants to build a stronger democracy. So currently it can be compared with, so there's a new model of vTaïwan community. We are working with NGOs to provide their domain knowledge and also proficiencies on a single field to offer the background and context for the discussion. And we are also working with the civic tech community. In the community, people are working on using technology tools to solving the different social issues. And I think that strengthen democracy is what we are working on right now. And also we are working with civil participants who is interested in participating in vTaïwan's event as well. So basically what we are solving our problem is that how we solve the reputation gap is working with NGOs and our communities to promote vTaïwan. Also, we cooperating with OCF, a very huge organization in Taiwan. The full name is Open Culture Foundation. So we open up our community accounts in the Open Culture Foundation. So Open Culture Foundation actually offers services that they can become the legal entity to receive the fundraising for different community. And they will have an inner account, which is like an inner ledger to record.
Yeah. Sorry, what is OCF? Just what does it stand for? Like the acronym?
Yes. So OCF, the full name is Open Culture Foundation. It was an NGO in Taiwan and working on promoting open culture and supporting the local community. So vTaïwan is among one of the local community they are supporting. And how they support the local community is that OCF offer a services. If you register in OCF and sign a memorandum with OCF, OCF can offer, they can become the legal entity and offer the bank account to receive the fundraising for the local community. Because you know that if you want to become from a community to a legal entity, usually it will have some administrative cost. You have to dealing with the tax, you have dealing with the registry, you have to dealing with a lot of different issues. And for some very little NGOs or very little communities, maybe they only have several contributors and without any full-time staff, it will be very challenging to operating this or promoting the issues they want to promote in Taiwan. So therefore, OCF take the mission to support local community. If you found successfully fundraising, OCF will take certain percent, like 7% or 10% of your fundraising as administrative fee. However, with these administrative fee, OCF also provides some resources like training, courses, or gatherings to help different NGOs and different local communities to to link and connect with each other. So working with OCF is kind of like a very a new way for vTaïwan to become more sustainable and offering a stable financial resources to the community. So right now we are able to use our own money with our own bank accounts, so that we can do the fundraising and receive financial support from uh, others, like from other NGOs or from the government or from the corporations, the donations like that. Yeah. And right now we are also using the online events, like we use Jitsi to do the online discussions, and these weekly online discussions gonna regularly happen. And I think it has been lasting for 2 years, and we are moving on to our third years of regularly holding online meetup for everybody to discuss on each other, and also meet each other, discuss on the issues that we are caring about, or discussing on some innovative way to do the deliberative democracies. So currently, this is what we have right now. And our community is also has different members working on different things. Some helping checking the deliberation democracies report. Some helping to bridging with different NGOs to have more opportunity coming in. Some working on some innovative platforms to collecting opinions and categorize opinions in the more clear way to visualize different opinions, making people can grapple the opinions in a faster and shorter time. Yeah. So currently that is the status quo of vTaiwan. And if you have any interest, just feel free to offer your question. But I'm sorry, I can only answer the questions in English, Mandarin, or Japanese. So if you ask the question in French, I may not able to offer an appropriate answer.
Thanks a lot, Peter, for that presentation. I have myself a lot of question, input, thought about it. It's really interesting. But maybe like if anyone wants maybe to start the questions, go ahead. Maybe raise your hand, and while I wait that you raise your hands, I'll ask my first question. One question is like that I have for myself is so you described a little bit like two way of functioning, like the original way of vTaiwan and the new way.
Yes.
The original was more like institutional because it was corresponding to a special historical moment in Taiwan history. And
Yes.
after that, you had to find a solution in order to continue
Yes.
your work. My
Yes.
first question would be, so as I understood what you said, like the first moment, it was like a coalition between the power or the will of students during the Tournesol, the Sunflower Movement, the
Yes.
will of the civic tech
Yes.
community, and the will of some politician. And I reference to Jacqueline Tai.
You can try. Yes.
Yeah, that and you are like a really good movement there that you benefited from. And my first question would be like, how did you do that? How did you convince the student that the civic engagement movement was interesting? How Jacqueline Tai knew about all these kind of things and was sensibilized to all these questions? Like, how do we promote that? Like, how do you call it? In French, we call it convergence. Like that there is a convergent movement between these three communities.
Yes.
How did it happen?
Well, it is really interesting because I think before then like Audrey Tang is also invited by Jack and Tai into the government agencies, and since then there's a more and more public servants become interested in the civic tech group, and they are also when they are understanding because civic tech community in Taiwan starting in 2012, and it was actually follows a wave of open source movements. So there's a large group of software engineers and legal professors that promotes open source. And afterwards, some of them becomes the main contributors in the government community, also the civic tech community. And so I'm not sure how Jacqueline Tsai originally know
Yeah.
the information about the Godzilla community, but maybe some of her staff or some of her staff and also some of her friends told them. I think Jacqueline Tai and Audrey Tang become acquainted with each other. They knew each other before that.
Okay.
And I think maybe Audrey Tang offered suggestions to Jacqueline Tai and invite her to come to the Gabriel community. But I have to say, right now, a lot of public servants in the government agencies know what Gabriel is and what Open Culture Foundation is. So it's a good direction
Yeah.
because the public officials actually, I think it is partially thanks to the Audrey Tang and the Jacqueline Tai because they introduce a lot of staff into a lot of staff to the Godzilla community and
Okay.
making the government agencies and the public servants more familiar with the civic tech groups. Yes.
And between the civic tech group and the students?
Yes. I think between civic tech groups and students, because civic tech groups usually have a close relationship with the information club in high school and university. We have information club or computer club. Those people who is interested in the technology or interested in computer science, they will form their own club, like focusing on different issues like open source or like a single coding mechanisms or different computer coding languages like that.
Okay.
So Gazelle community actually maintain a very close relationship with these clubs, and it becomes a channel for us to have our influence toward the campus. But also,
Okay.
Gazelle community work with the schools. We have a project called School 001, and this is the projects that focus on how to bring the idea of civic tech and how to bring the idea of digital democracies into the campus, no matter it's public school or private school. So,
Okay.
like for me, I also become a lecturer or become offering the speech, labor speech in the school, in the campus, to introduce to the students what is the idea of open source, what is the idea of starting all your own civic tech project, what is the idea of making you take advantage of technology to solving the different social issues like that.
Okay.
So that is how to build a connection between civic tech groups and the campus.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, I'm going to ask you like the question of the chat. So Julien asks, you can see in the chat, but what are the countries
Yes,
that seems to be the most advanced in AI governance after Taiwan, in your opinion?
I think in Taiwan, I think in Taiwan we didn't offer very strong AI governance currently. So this is also an issue I have been discussed with a lot of people, and also I think I working in the research as a research assistant in Academia Seneca, focusing on and my professor, my boss, is a professor focusing on AI regulation. So we usually thought that Taiwan's AI regulation or AI governance is lagging behind, and it was ironic because Taiwan actually has a lot of technicians and we play a very important role in the semiconductor industries. But however, Taiwan's AI governance is not really strong as what we have in the ICT industry. And I think in Taiwan, our AI law, we still have our draft. So it is not an official law, it's still a draft and waiting to be passed in the parliament. And in the draft, a lot of people are referring to the European AI Act,
Okay.
or you're referring to the NIST, the AI risk management framework, AIRNF, published by a National Institute of Science and Technology in the United States. So currently, we're still following the European Union. We're still following the United States on AI governance. For the AI governance after Taiwan, I think it's a hard question to think about because I think different countries will have different contexts. Like the context in France will be very different from the context in Taiwan. In the context in Taiwan is that we have a lot of big tech companies, but however, the Taiwanese government do not have the same leverage power as European have because European actually is very brave on taking the fight against the big tech companies. You have the Digital Services Act, you have Digital Market Act, but however, in Taiwan, we are not able to promote these kind of very harsh means or very brave ways against the big tech companies, or the big tech companies will trying to skip Taiwan. They would just cut off the office in Taiwan. So yeah, this cut off the office in Taiwan.
Yeah, but I think what Julian meant as well is more like maybe I shouldn't have called it AI governance, but it's more like more advanced in terms of using the digital tools in order to be democratic.
Yes. This is also the things that we have discussed. Actually, last year in December, we were working with the TWNIC, Taiwan Network and Information Center, which plays a very important role in internet governance in Taiwan. They distribute the domain name TW, so they are care about the internet issues, and AI development is currently in their first priority. So we work with them and discussing on the AI governance in Taiwan. And I think currently currently there's two different directions. The one direction is that we're trying to foster the public opinion into the AI governance, and currently there's a lot of government agencies trying to do that. But I don't think that they have very consistent level because the AI issue is so complicated and was across different. It was an issue that crossed different jurisdictions of agencies. So different agencies will have their own role, but however, how to coordinate different agencies to work on the certain position and make different agencies align with each other. I think so far the effort is not that kind of like very strong. And but another way is that using the AI to strengthen democracy. Currently, what Taiwan doing is that we are experimenting several ways. Like for the public discussions, when we think about some public opinions, we use AI to make each opinions become more reliable and not emotional sensitive toward people. And we also use the AI to do the deliberative democracy. And a lot of different projects in Taiwan developing right now are also doing the same things. We're trying to use the AI to strengthen the different things. And currently, there's also some other applications of AI. Like in Taiwan, we are facing a serious threat of the online fraud. So online fraud actually costing a lot of money, making people suffering from a lot of damages in Taiwan, financial damages. So government agencies also take advantage of AI technology to distinguish the abnormal or strange money flaw or financial flaws, information flaws to detect the potential crime of fraud like that. So this is what we have in Taiwan right now.
But do you know any other country that are as advanced or a little bit advanced in that area of using AI, but not only AI, like generative AI? I mean, just like any digital tools in order to be more democratic.
Yes, I think if you want to check these kind of examples, Korea and Japan can be a great example because the Civic Tech Group in Korea and Japan, we are actually working closely. So Korea, they have Code for Korea, and they also have several companies that is developing the digital tools for different kind of digital governance. And in Japan, they have a very strong NGOs. It was called Code for Japan. And Code for Japan is a very strong NGO that fosters the local civic tech efforts in different fields of Japan. So I think this is the things if you want to know more about or making if you want to know more about, I can introduce some friends or some acquaintances that I know in Code for Japan or Code for Korea for you if you want.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Another question is like, it's a little bit linked, huh? To your knowledge,
Yes.
what would be the current best tools to allow open source decision making? You know, like
What
for
is
example, like
the best tools to allow open source decision
yeah,
making? And is
like
there something you believe to be?
little bit like police. Do you know other open source tool like police doing the same kind of things, or like what is your toolbox?
Yes, this is a good question. So I think we explore different kind of tools, and actually some of the tools are actually friends. We actually compile a large Google sheet about these kind of data,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, but I think that it still depends on the context that you want.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about a fast, I think several features is common. So the first feature is that they can generate the reports automatically, which means that you don't have to spend too much time reading the data and summarize the things by yourself. I think what pol.is is still being used and highly recognized and very famous for its ability to generate a real-time visualization of the opinion. They can give you the spectrum. They can give you the opinion grouping. They can give you the scattering of the opinion and the ratio of agree and disagree about each opinion. I think it is very hard to find another similar tools that can offer a lot of
Okay.
insights from opinion collection. So
Yeah.
this is one thing, and another thing is that I think this Decidim is also a very good tool because Decidim
Which one? Ah, Decidim. Yeah,
this
Decidim. Yeah.
Decidim. Yeah, Decidim is a very good tool because Decidim is being used around the world, and a lot of local communities. What I know is that Code for Japan are relying on Decidim a lot
Okay.
to doing the opinion collection, but I'm not sure if the opinion visualization can be as easy as pol.is right now.
Yeah.
And sense making is also a thing that's as well, a very good things as well. And if you are not if you don't hate the big tech company, recently we actually talk and have this really nice discussion with Google's Jigsaw team. So Jigsaw is a Google's task force. They are working on developing the digital tools, incorporating with AI and incorporating with some other technology. They actually published several articles on their Medium page. So if you want to know more about these kind of tools information, you can search for Jigsaw. Jigsaw is
Okay.
the team name for them. Yeah,
Okay.
but just to to be frank, is that because Jigsaw is supported and sponsored by Google, so they may so maybe if you are allergic to Google, if you hate these kind of big tech company, then Jigsaw may not be your first choice. Yeah.
Yeah. And would it be possible to have the Google Doc or the Google Sheet you talked about with all the tools that you used or you know about?
Yes, I can definitely share it to you.
Ah,
Yes,
cool.
definitely. I can
Perfect.
send it with Jaloo data. Yes,
Perfect with the presentation and everything. And we will put everything in the description of the video that we will put online.
thanks.
Cool. So if you have other question in the chat or like if you want to open your mic, just go ahead. I have other question myself. Um, yeah, like related question to Simon one, a bit redundant somehow. As a theoretician, I'm a bit curious to know what are the needs to improve the mathematical and algorithmic tools behind the project for the future. And if so, where to look to start thinking about, since we may encounter similar issues with Tournesol. So, yeah, my understanding of the question is like how deep and we have to go into the theoretical questioning and when we are building these tools. What are like the field in theory that we have to develop in order to make the strongest and more robust tools for democratic usage? I hope, Julien, that I didn't that I did translate and did develop your question well.
Yes, thanks, Julian. Thanks, Julian. And this is a good question. And this is
Yeah.
actually the issue that we are discussing in last year. So
Okay.
last year we actually trying to, and actually there are a lot of different projects are doing the same things. So around the world, but we're trying to localize these
Yeah.
kind of efforts. So basically, for the digital tools for mass participatory approach or for the deliberative democracies, I think there's one group of people called People Power, and they are an NGO in the United States. They are working on these different things. They are working on analyzation and working on the rating of different digital tools for the participatory approach.
Yeah.
But from my interview toward the deliberative discussion people, the host, the moderator, the event holder of these kind of deliberative democracy, I think the first insight is that the tools itself is not the first priority, because the tool itself is only the mean, which means that the tool is just the tools. The tools is not the ultimate goal. So when we talking about how to improve the methodological and algorithmic tools, we need to think about whether these kind of tools can really help us achieve the goal of making everybody happy and maybe everybody satisfying during the deliberative democracy. So the first things, if there's the goal to make everybody satisfying, then then there's some features that you can think about, like saving everybody's time. Originally, they might be some efforts might be time consuming, like you need to record down what everybody's saying, or you need to do waiting for the translation. But if there's a real-time translation, or is there's a real-time script writer for you, then it can be a good way for you to have discussion. And also for our algorithmic things, how to spot the opinion that have the least consensus, also very important, because we don't want to waste our time on the opinions that everybody all agree with or do not agree with. We need to find out the opinions that lies in between. Like on the spectrum, we want to discuss on some border issues, the opinions that falls into the border. Not really bad, but not really good. Not as good as enough, but not as bad as enough. So we need to find out these kind of opinion, because these opinions have the value to be discussed and have the value to be deep dive. Why people have divergent opinion on these kind of issue, then it can have a lot of stories, a lot of discussions, a lot of deep insights behind the issue. And I think this is the most valuable things that we're trying to find out and we're trying to present during the discussion. And how to bring it out is really important. So when you're designing the algorithmic tools, you can think about these kind of goals. And when you have these kind of goals in your mind, then you can develop your own standard. And please be careful. These kind of standard can be changed, and these kind of standard can also be context-based, which means that for a good tool in our community may not be a good tool in your community. You still need to think about what is your participant, what is your audience, and what is the stakeholder in your community that may cares about.
Yeah, then I think about two things. Like the first thing, like now I understand a bit more why you go toward the LLM interpretation of opinion polls, because then it does save time to people. You don't need to go through the whole police result that is quite hard to understand for the people that are not used. But you have an LLM trying to summarize and to make everything faster, because people want to go fast and doesn't want to spend an hour reading the result and trying to understand the result. So that's the first thing. Okay. And second one, like my other opinion, like my other thinking is we talk a lot, for example, about zero knowledge proof. So, for example, authentication with zero knowledge proof, because authentication it's really important to be able to prove, for example, in a poll that maybe you are from France or you are from Taiwan or any some stuff like that. But again, like if you lose all the people because it's too hard to authenticate, then it's technically really good, it's technically really robust, it's technically really safe, but you lose something in usability. So it's a little bit like you said, You have to know why do you want the tool and what are the advantages and disadvantages and to go in that direction. But my guess is maybe, yeah, if it's there, it's there. It can be used depending on the context.
Yes, this is a good example. Yeah,
Yeah,
and also a good explanation. Thank you, Visual. I see the problem. I see the questions. The representativeness is also a very good issue when we are doing the
yeah,
deliberative democracy.
yeah,
So we are trying to get the representativeness in our next event. We're trying to sample it from the social media ads because if we post the social media ads, we assume that there be a certain ratio of people coming up to our events based on the goal of what we set in the background of the social backstage of the social media ad control center. But also, this is a very good question, and I think vTaïwan is more focusing on the stakeholderism rather than the representativeness. So we're trying to invite the more diverse
okay,
stakeholder which are related to the issues that we are discussing about. So stakeholder discovery is usually the most difficult and most challenging parts. But however, we do realize that there are some underrepresented people in our discussions. And I think part of the reason why it was created is because the deliberative democracies itself has creating these kind of people being marginalized. Like deliberative democracies actually um, reward those people like me that can offer my opinion clearly, directly with oral presentation. But however, for people who are not able to do these kind of things, they may be afraid of participating in these kind of discussion. They may be not be able to be feel comfortable during the discussion, or they may not able, or for people who have digital gap that cannot use
yeah,
the digital tools, that they may be marginalized in these kinds of discussions. So
yeah,
how to make people engage into these process is really important.
yeah,
And currently, I don't have a very good final answer, but my current answer will be using some technology tools to save your time and save your effort so that you can concentrate your efforts on the part and aspects that focusing on the people. So
yeah.
basically, it's like saving the human resources to dealing with the real human, putting AI things to AI and putting human things back to the human.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
this is my
that's why you promote as well face-to-face interaction. Like you have like
yes,
this AI thing and these AI polls, and as well in parallel face-to-face interaction.
yes. And thanks, Yuting Zhang. Yuting actually shares that there's a new project of digital identity wallets. Actually, one of my friends is the development developer and many contributors in the government agencies working in Malta. So if you want, you can also share the information, the digital identity wallet. You can
Ah,
become the issuer of the different identity cards, but also you can become the receiver of the digital identity cards. And I can see
nice.
it's the second question coming from Simon.
Yeah,
Simon
yeah,
says, "On opinion, something unreliable by nature compared to objective facts, except for culture." Oh, yeah, it is a good one. So that is why we need to prepare the context and prepare the information for the participants
yeah,
because
yeah,
although there's objective facts, but however, when you are doing the voting, when you are doing the policy making in the democratic states, in the democratic countries, people vote not
not only
because
with
of the
yeah,
facts.
yeah,
People vote because of their opinion. So
yeah,
that's the thankfully Malayala Pond is being put into prison and not able to participate in the election. But however, you can see that even though there's a lot of even though there's a lot of facts, but people can still believe in and can still be allured to the misinformation and making some wrong decisions during the voting or democratic mechanisms. So I think I still value the facts, but however, um, I still think that doing deliberative democracy for me is like making everybody's opinions circulate and exchange with each other,
yeah,
so that people's opinion can be changed. And we actually use some. Actually, I can offer one example is that when during our last issue meetup, when we are
Yeah.
doing the deliberative discussions, we're actually asking people to vote for the sentence that they to vote agree or disagree on a single sentence. So afterwards, we will let people express their opinion, why they vote yes or why they vote no on these sentence. And after we let people express their opinion, we will let them vote again to see how many people change. And then we'll ask again, why do you change your opinion? Or why do you not change your opinion? So this is really important because sometimes people's opinion is being formed by a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's not only not because of facts, it's also because of the life experience. It's because of their family issues. It's because of the recent feelings, or even because of the weather. And from some empirical research, um, a lot of reasons, a lot of reasons actually influence people's cognitive receiveness. So basically, that is why we think that circulating opinion and making people having face-to-face discussions, or not face-to-face, but able to sharing the information like this, can be very important too.
Cool, really interesting, and yeah, I totally agree with what you said. Yeah, I think it's the end of the lunch break for many of the French people, and the people from Switzerland as well. So if we don't have any more question, yeah, I thank you a lot for the presentation and the answers. It was really interesting. Maybe we should do a follow-up on several
Yeah.
months. It would be awesome. Yeah, please send me all the links and I will put them in the description. And yeah, I'll hope that we can do more tools like this in France and use them. And hopefully we will do more open deliberation based on fact and taking into account the opinion and the values of of everyone, because I think one of the power of democracy is as well, maybe it's not like the decision that I would like, maybe it's not a decision reflecting all my values, but my main value being I accept more a democratic decision based on true fact than another one. So it makes everything more acceptable for by everyone if I know and I believe in the process, in the democratic process.
Yes, thank you. And thank Jalou and also my friends from France and from Switzerland to participate in this talk. And also have a wonderful sharing. Thank you for offering this.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye. Thank
Peter.
you.